All right, everybody, welcome back to Gear Talk. This is episode 6. I am here with Neva and Lem and Bane. Just before we get started, just so you guys know, Gear Talk isn't just about gear. You can talk, you can ask questions about other things. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can ask questions in the comments, and I will ask on your behalf. We are working on setting up a little bit more of a open Discord, so that way you guys can ask me either in Discord or on YouTube, and we can get you an invite, and you can come in and ask your questions there. Yeah, it's not just about gear. We may change the name, but for right now, it's Gear Talk. Any question goes. There are no dumb questions except for when you ask Bane. Neva, why don't you give your intro real quick?
But I'm Neva. Been in the EXE for a little while, a couple seasons. But here's the thing: we want to help out the community with this. So yeah, we're going to start building out a little bit better of a platform that way people can join up more and ask the questions they need to learn, man. So that's what we're here for. Bane, on to you, sir.
Hi.
I'm Bane. There's dumb questions.
Oh God! right,
Don't ask Bane questions unless you want to be called dumb.
It's like Eeyore, so much like Eeyore. Oh my God!
That's how he always.
All
I'm
right.
Bane. Infantry's the best. That's how he always talks.
I have never said that, despite the fact that it's true.
How true, but it's true in some aspects. Yeah. And then Liam, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself first and see rush into the introduction today?
I'm Lim, part of EXE, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
This is a terrible idea to actually ask that of you.
You had to know it was going to come out publicly. I had to do
it. Oh God! All right, so we had somebody start asking questions real quick right before the start of the stream. So if you want to go ahead and start asking your questions, ma'am, I'm more than glad to help you and answer.
Good morning. My name is Toys R Us in game, and I'm working on 2 different commanders at the time. I'm trying to continue to grow my Reinhardt, and I've recently gotten my IRA to S class, and I've been trying to push that gear up from what I've seen using the Quantum module, the 2 roses, the Ambition, and Assault Pants. So I'm just trying to decide.
So you are mainly going to be a Reinhardt main with a secondary of Ira, or
No. I'm a black main, and I've been trying to grow these other comms to just offset some of the other comms that may not have been as effective. So I'm more effective. So that's been my growth and my focus is to become more effective in these other comms. So the Reinhardt, I've got gear going up pretty decent, and from what I've seen, the IRA S class with the gear described as being best of choice really messes up my black. So I like that. My Gilly has wonderful gear, but I'm not willing to absorb some of those because they took 3 to 4 years to create. So I'm trying to just push things up. So I don't know where to post what I have so that it could be seen. So I'm just looking for.
You can go on here to screen your thing so we can see exactly what it is, and then
the biggest thing that I've got, I think I got it answered from a couple other in guild mates where I'm at, that the Beetlegeist versus the Megris may be the best next choice to upgrade, push into 40. Would that be an agreement to this group? For Reinhardt?
Well, let's see what you got by you can share your screen.
Yeah, if you can share your screen for us, we can actually take a look and dive into it for you, sir, and help you out a little bit, give you some advice. But if not, I mean, if you're building a Reinhardt, so the way it is with me, this is the way I look at it. Okay, so you're a black main. That means you got at least T12 airship unlocked. And I know you do. I'm pretty sure you're actually on 1848s now, right? You've actually got achieved those now.
That is correct. Yeah, I'm almost 800 of those. So
Nice, great, good stuff, good stuff. So you got the accuracy for the black guild. So with your Reinhardt and everything, what kind of leadership are we working with? That's the first question you want to ask yourself. Because if you're looking for utility wise, I mean, yeah, you can have a 300K Reinhardt to clear tiles and stuff like that, but then the gear set's not as important as something else that could provide more utility, like a decent size IRA or something like that. So that would be it's a little toss up of which way your arc is more built out to succeed in. You know what I'm saying? Versus
correct. So I have most of my technology is in air, but I have found that my ghillie is very limited, even as a one slot bust. And I've seen for a lower, not I don't know about leadership, but for lower gear levels and even mid gear levels, the Ivor seems to do a lot more functionality than my ghillie. So I've thought about raising that gear and swapping the leadership over from ghillie onto Ira because I see a lot more of an impact with it because it really screws me up trying to attack it. And that tells me even on 35 to 40 gear, it has use. So that's where I'm kind of pushing. So I have about 445K that I can move from ghillie to Ira because it's now S class. The gear that I have is I'm trying to push it all to 35 with 2 pieces being 40. So 3 pieces would still be about 35 level. Is worth considering that versus the 216K Reinhardt that I have with 35 to 40 gear.
So personally, my personal choice at that point, I would not run a IRA with 35, 40 gear just because of the simple fact that you're not achieving the full effect of its gear set, right? And that's what you want to do when you're building out a gear set, is achieving the full effect of its full potential. So, for example, you won't be full pin, and you're talking about running a sweep pin setup, so you're not going to hit nowhere near as hard as you need to do the damage that you're wanting, but you still can get the effects of sweep from it. And most airships aren't running sweep in RWE, but nowadays they kind of are, right?
Okay.
So the sweep pin is kind of very limited, but it's still you still need that pin effect. So you want to do plus 45. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do anything less than plus 45 on the hour. First off.
Okay, great. So basically, what you're saying is that the SWE gear that I have, until I raise my IRA gear to better penetration levels, may be more effective in the meantime instead of on which I use it on my Hank. So
I think what he's trying to say is you have too many baskets, not enough eggs.
Gotcha.
Yes.
You can't you don't have the leadership, tech, or gear to main 4 different commanders. You have to main 1 commander and then have 1 backup commander. Being an airship comm, you probably want a tank secondary, so you're gonna want it to be Reinhardt because you don't have the gear and leadership to make an Orochi useful.
Correct.
And you're trying to split your leadership and utility between 2 different troop types when you don't have a full march in your main troop type, etc., etc. The best thing you could do is probably focus all your gear into Black and Reinhardt and make sure that Reinhardt's gear is all 40 and solid, and push your Black high enough that you can get a successful 1 slot bust, and then try to get like 1 slot tier 12 for Reinhardt and fill the rest of it with tier 2 because you can use him with tier 2.
Right.
And as much lead on those 2 as possible. Like, you want Black to be the big one for sure, but Reinhardt's not going to do anything unless he's big enough to take a chunk out of something.
So his leadership really does need to be above 350 to 500K.
I think as much as you can put.
Well, I could get him to about 750K.
Where's your Black at though?
1.69, almost 1.7 mil.
With AI, you mean?
With or without AI?
He's out on use. I think he's just around 1.2.
So
okay, yeah. I would get
Reinhardt
to 800K. I would get Reinhardt to 800K and then push everything else into Black till he's maxed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And leave the other 3 at like 20K, maybe 100K if you feel like wasting stuff for like All-Star and whatnot. They're not going to do that much for you. Gilly's great for utility, but she has to have high tech, high dodge, high.
And
She
she's
doesn't
not.
hit that hard.
Yeah.
She does well with basic gear like attack gear because she ignores death.
Yep.
And
that's what
she
she's
has
good at.
preemptive. So she's
Yep.
useful, but if you're not tier 12 tech levels, you're not going to do much with her.
Correct. And I've seen
Like,
that.
I use Gilly as my secondary, but I main infantry, so I have hyper 10 and high tech.
Sure.
She does
Sure.
great, but it's also plus 40 V2. It's like really good gear for basically a secondary junk com.
Right. And that's why I was hoping to kind of shift things over to Ira, because I see that Gilly just doesn't quite have that oomph, but I've seen that the Ira has a little bit more oomph where I'm at. So
Does have more oomph. She is less specific utility use, more of a just high damage one slot bust, and she can work with tier 11 infantry. But the gear has to be in the 45s. If you're not like all 45s with good gems, you're not getting anywhere with that.
All right.
You're not going
that has been very helpful, and I appreciate being able to get that question answered.
Yeah, like you don't want to work on a third com until your main set is like 50 gear, usually. Like most players, especially if you're trying to run a black, you're just not going to cut it because you're going to probably want a formula, which means you're going to need at least 3, if not 4 or 5 pieces of 50 gear to have an effective full pen set with black.
Yeah, and I've got Formal HUD at 49, and then I've got my well, crud. What's the other one? I just went blank.
Handling, arcade.
My Tang is 45. Yeah, and actually all the gear is about 45. So
you're spread out a little bit.
A little bit. I'm trying to get back into get it focused. So
yeah, I would like Reinhardt. You can stop the gear at 40 because his set is pretty basic. It's basically damage reduction and survival and trigger rate.
Yep.
It's not that complicated. You can stop that at 40 and then throw everything else into your main because you have to have that at full pen and high accuracy, or otherwise there's no point.
Yeah.
You would be better off main GDS if you don't land your hits.
Right. And I found that the Tang split versus the Formal HUD has actually been more effective at the moment. And that relays back to not having the full
you have to have full pen. Not having full pen doesn't seem like a lot until you get to full pen. Then you're like, wow, I sucked before.
Yeah, correct. And I've seen that. So I've had to kind of hold the water at what is full pen until I can get the others raised up to make it balance. So I agree. Thank you. That was my question. I appreciate it, guys.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah, then that lesson goes for everyone. Don't have too many baskets with not enough eggs. Because like you can spread your use across utility marches. Like my arc is probably the most spread out arc you're ever going to see, but I also have the most min-maxed effective lowest lead possible commander that you're ever going to see. And most people shouldn't do that.
No. But you also
Bullpen, high lead main is goal number 1. Goal number 2 is to have a useful secondary commander. Utility comms should come secondary to that. And if your main
what
gear
you're saying are your arcs suck, is what you're telling us.
Yes. No one else would want my arc. No one else would want my arc. If someone bought my arc, it would look very different within a month.
Yes, it would actually.
It would look so different.
That's so true.
I would probably cry.
Don't ever say your thing.
Oh, don't worry.
Now, where we go out from here? Who we go with?
Anybody have any more questions?
Ghost, you want your shit ass Orochi question answered?
How you just gonna throw me under the fucking bus?
Because you're a Orochi and we found out Orochi sucks.
Well, you know what?
Honestly, I mean that is a good point.
I ain't got nothing.
Well, it's not that Orochi sucks. Orochi doesn't suck. Orochi is great, depending on what level of play you're at. When you're fighting the top 2 guilds in the game, Orochi sucks. When you're fighting literally every other guild, Orochi's great.
Well, the funny part is he's
Well-
supposed to be coming to the top 2 guilds. So there you go.
You can-
Your Orochi
You can,
sucks.
you can ask Toys R Us. He met my Orochi.
So the question with Orochi and everything, like we noticed in this past battle, it's been in the battle before. It's just nothing but point negatives for you and everything right now. I mean, there's just too many heavy hitting comms, and too many comms that can just completely wipe Orochi off the face of the earth and just be points. So that's where it's coming at with. It's just in a
Well, that
point
hasn't
aspect.
been new.
Orochi still. So
That
what?
hasn't been new. Orochi's always given up points. I mean,
Yeah.
his goal is not to never mind.
No, you're right. His goal was to hold and not a way to hold things. Yeah, you're gonna give up points, but you're timing out. Now you're not even timing out with anybody because they are just annihilating you.
They're just
With
Or
the blacks,
yeah,
that's why I don't go against any blacks for that reason,
Yeah.
and 3 pieces for that also.
Yeah, and at a higher level of play,
now
that's
you
what
just
feel like,
limit yourself down to like a minute
Well, I mean, just like with
number.
every com,
Mhm.
I've played Orochi for 2 years now. It has to evolve. My next com will come up, and it's just me setting up for him, which I've been doing.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm not gonna make that switch until I'm 100% or at least 90% satisfied with the outcome.
Oh yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that. That's why
Because
it took me a while to actually make my switch too. I had to be 100% satisfied that I was going to do what I needed to get done. So I know exactly
and you
where
also
you're
got
coming
to
from with that.
And you also got to think, man, Orochi did really bad in GC for you guys, right? And that's high level play. But Cass is coming up, and he's still gonna be a viable com during Cass, just like Reinhardt. There's still a viable com during that aspect of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he has his use. He will always have his use. I agree with you 100%. And with
Hope and pray. I hope and pray that there are more Orochis in Cass.
So do I.
Okay, well, we're not asking you. We're not talking to
So
you.
do I. I mean, I
Which
do love seeing
I ran
y'all
into you.
Orochis and Reinhardt. So
Yeah, he was sitting in the cap. Nobody would touch him. I don't give a shit. I knew he had a
and
Orochi
you
killer in
wonder
there. I
why.
don't give a shit. And I went in there. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, your mid bay thanked you.
What, 26 T12s? Are you kidding me? Come on. I've lost that more than a fuck around and find out.
Oh, you're talking about that.
But
I thought you were talking about Cass. I was like, oh.
No, I was talking about Bane and Sat.
Yeah, just so you know, I was in Diablo Hull on accident.
Well,
Holes matter.
that's probably the reason why I won.
Holes matter.
I don't want to feel bad right now. Leave me alone.
Hey, Never, your stream broke.
My frame broke.
Yeah, it's just loading.
So,
Was there a question
But
there,
nah,
or are we just
I-
shitting on
uh,
Orochi?
but
Well, I mean, we're not
so
necessarily shitting on Orochi because Orochi still has its
yeah.
uses. So it still affects
So
the cat.
Ghost, what
It still can be
what is your plan going from Orochi?
Well, I mean, I got a formal hall and a
Back up,
broken
right?
fortress
Very
in
good.
the works. So originally it was black, but with black with 3-piece now, I don't know. I got to rethink some things, and I gotta get my divorce through, and then we can really.
That's if she don't get half your arc.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully you guys are talking to me in 2 months, not her.
I lost my arc in a divorce.
I had to
Boy,
list
man,
it
why
as
you
an
bullshit?
asset.
Why
I
y'all
had to listen
bullshitting?
to
Why, exactly. Why y'all bullshitting? As much as some of these people spend on this thing, this could be considered an asset, man.
I had, dude. She has receipts. I had to consider it an asset. I had to put it
Oh
down. She
shit!
has the receipts for it.
No.
What does she want more, the game or the house?
She wants me 6 feet under. It doesn't matter.
She wants everything.
Mhm. That bitch was putting bleach in my coffee. What are you talking
Oh
about?
Lord, that's no good.
No
That
wonder his teeth
seems
were
like
so
the
white.
wrong beverage to bleach. Just saying.
That's why you keep playing Arc of War.
He was
Nice.
wondering why his teeth got so white.
No, I keep my Keurig in the rig, bro. I drive out to the fucking driveway to make my coffee. I ain't scared. Fuck, I'm all right out there, motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Well, back to your talk.
Oh, you get us going.
So,
Never know. You never know.
anybody else wants information or have
It
any
doesn't have to
questions?
be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be about gear.
No, not at all. Give me about what comms you use, like how we think the Walker's meta is changing, how we think the airship meta is turning, whatever. That's question.
I don't know. I'm debating on whether to scrap Puppet for a little while and go with Craig or.
Oh, don't even.
Craig's effective. Don't get me wrong, but Puppet has its
He-
merits too. Puppet's
There's
one
no
of the
point.
good.
If you main Puppet, there's no good reason to switch to Craig. They're completely separate play styles. Like
Yeah.
if you're infantry and you main Puppet, your best bet was
The-
to push up Craig as a second full march.
The thing is, with me maining Puppet, and yeah, I got where do I go at from where I'm at with Puppet? You know, my gear set and everything is pretty much spot on. So, you know, it's more of having a new challenge, I should say. And I don't know if I want to go that route or just say, stay lazy and say, well, I got this where I want it. So, which we all know how that goes with Arc of War and 7P. You get lazy, you get stuck in running it, and then soon enough, your comm looks like Orochi does right now.
Damn, man.
I have no
So I'm gonna
idea
go
what
find
you're
something else to
talking
fucking
about.
do. Well,
You just don't have
So-
enough projects. That's the problem.
So that's the trick. I mean, plus I've got that 3-piece coming up, and I really don't think I want to see a 3-piece on Puppet. I mean, I don't think it's going to change much. It'll probably make Puppet a little more dangerous to extent, but then you lose all that accuracy you have by trying
Use
to
it
do
on
it that way.
What weapons? What 3-piece will you have? Will you have?
Oh, I got the trigger. I
Will you
got
have
the trigger
piece?
weapon.
Okay.
You got the trigger chest piece, and then you got the pants that I run on Puppet right now for
So
the
that's what
accuracy.
you'll have. You'll have the trigger shit.
Yeah, I got all.
What you about to say, man?
Try it on Czar.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm not too fond of Czar, and actually, I mean, the one I want to try it on, and the one I want to try and see if I can get something out of is probably going back to Hubarian for a little while. But there again, I just don't think the trigger rates are going to be high enough for what you need for Hubarian.
There's no point in running Hubarian. Like Hubarian counters nothing. He doesn't hit
Hubarian is fun.
He is fun. He is just fun.
And
There's
it is
so
fun watching other people blow themselves up on them.
I'm pretty doesn't his counter strike like counter block the 3-piece rebound anyway? So that would be counterproductive.
No, actually, from the ones I seen, when they hit and it goes back on him, I don't see the rebound damage coming back from the 3-piece.
No, I mean, if you take no damage from his rebound, then you shouldn't be dealing any back with the 3-piece rebound, is what I mean. Or does it not work that way? Does it rebound both the skill and the 3-piece rebound, or only the skill?
No,
Because
it's
skill
only
should
going
be
to
blocking the
rebound their.
damage.
It's going to rebound their attack back at them. But
Right, but does it do it with
when
both
he
skills?
when he rebounds their attack back at him, a rebound doesn't come back at him.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you use 3-piece on Hubarian, you should have 2 rebounds. If they hit the 1 counter move, that zeroes out the damage they're doing. Does that zero out the damage for your Sunraven to rebound back at them?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
your Sun Raven's
you're
not
doing no damage.
your Sun. The way you're looking at it though is you got 2 rebounds. In other words, so if you don't trigger rebound, right? If you don't trigger that, then you got the 3-piece rebound because you got to think you're at a 30-40. That's Hubarian's trigger rate, 30 and 40.
Well,
And that's the only thing that
you think about it this way. Sunraven's 100%. So why would you bother having a 30% skill that just blocks one other skill that does the exact same thing? It makes no
because
sense.
his rebound the rebound damage from his rebound damage does more than what the 3-piece does.
Right, but not as much as a completely separate skill would, like a guaranteed hit that ignores damage reduction on Czar.
Well, it also
Correct.
brings first strike.
Well, first strike's nice, yeah, but that it adds that to everyone. There's no point in throwing it on a commander that has the exact same skill, so you're just losing a skill essentially.
Not
I would
necessarily.
think
No,
on
you
a
just
Hungarian
doubling
style.
down
I
on it.
think on a,
I
I
look
think
at
on
it as you
Hungarian.
doubling
You're
down.
not doubling down because they're not both acting at the same time.
Well, here's the thing.
You're
I think
getting
with the
one
Hungarian, man.
or the other.
Yeah, and I think with the Baron, you want to go with more of a high dodge build anyway. Personally, like instead of doing any like 3-piece on it and everything, because you already get the rebound damage of counter move triggers. Do the fucking like void and some fucking fire spirits and maybe even like the lifesteal weapon.
For sure. Hubarian with high dodge, full pen, and preemptive is
Oh,
actually
I
a
already
solid
know
build.
that. I already
But
know that because I ran that shit up against Neva before. I just trying to I was trying to think of ways to go back to him because yeah, I like running Hubarian. I like
think you could
running
run them with
Hubarian
the
over
high dodge,
Puppet, but
I think you could run the high dodge and like lifesteal weapon and the Alcade and Formal, and that would get you somewhere
the
possibly.
only problem with that is his trigger rates are so low, so you have to have the trigger rate gear in order to bring it up. But I don't
Okay.
think it's going to bring it up enough. Now he might be
So
more
what you
beneficial during cast than uh GC, but that's the only thing
that's the
I
shitty
view.
part, man. That's the shitty part, man, because if you kind of incorporate that, because there's only a couple of pieces of trigger rate here in the game, right? So like, and you can only
Yeah,
increase it so much. So I mean, he would be situational at best, unfortunately.
yeah.
he works well with my gear. Dude, I'm telling you, my gear is like the most universal set on the planet.
Your gear's
Anyone that
actually really
wants
good.
dodge and trigger rate, man.
Yeah, and it's good gear for sure, and you can run it on multiple different commanders.
I mean,
Sure.
3-piece on Czar. I mean, it really don't matter because I mean, even when you look at 3-piece on Czar, you don't need his weapon at that point. Czar's weapon, it gives you higher trigger rates,
Czar's
but you
weapon's
don't
not
really
good
need.
for Czar. Czar's weapon lowers your base attack in exchange for trigger rate / crit damage. If you don't have a base attack, it does not matter how much crit damage you have.
Oh, I
It's
know.
just a useless stat. You can multiply 100 damage 10 times. It's still not going to be as good as having 1,000 damage to begin with.
Yep.
And I don't think Czar's weapon is really a really good piece anyway have for even for Zard. It's not good for Zard. It's not good overall. I personally.
Well, with the
They're a
gear
better
sets you
build.
have out
They're a
there,
better
yeah,
build.
with the gear sets you have out there at this moment in time, I just Czar's weapon. You can run ruthless and you can run all the trigger gear, and you know you got that free slot to put Alcade. Whereas if you run Puppet, you're stuck running his weapon. There's almost, I mean, even if you take your weapon from him, then you're gonna pull one. And even if you get all your trigger rates up on Puppet, where he triggers almost 100% of the time, you're only really gonna get is the IDR without his weapon. So you know, and that's the only thing I view at is okay. Well, I think I ran the course with Puppet for right now. I mean, is he good? Yeah. I mean, but I don't. I mean, I do have that tank Stella, which I mean, it's halfway decent, but something else to work on. You know, if I want to, you know, because I have the slot bust or I have the tank destroying of Puppet. You know, now I need to have, I guess, a tank would offset it, and that's why I was looking at, well, maybe Craig. I don't really like Craig that much, but I mean, maybe that's going to be the route. It's either that or stick with Stella.
Yeah, those are your two options, Stella
Yeah,
or Craig. Craig is just the better tank. Stella is less good at tanking, but has way more utility uses.
yeah,
She counters the 3-piece blacks, etc., etc. She's high dodge, high accuracy, high trigger rate. You can run her with an offensive build, and you can run her with low lead and still counter massive
yeah.
marches with the right
I mean,
matchups.
she's fun. Stella's fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's she is fun to work with. She is fun to play with. You know, but there again, okay, you're stuck between the two, Stella or Craig, and Craig's more high end than Stella is.
Depending on what you're trying to counter, yes. Stella's still like, if we'd had a few more max lead Stellas, we could have won the playoffs. A lot of blacks. A lot of blacks.
And then it's also okay. Well, I already run preemptive on Puppet, so I got to go with the com that's not going to need preemptive. That I'm not going to
Right.
have to pull preemptive off, put it on, you know, someone else, where I can run another force skill to where both will be effective, and it's not pulling one for the other.
Right.
So that's the
Stella
other issue.
at high in a full march, Stella would want preemptive to beat black.
Yeah. Because you have to get lucky that they don't trigger anything in order for give you a chance for dual blade. So that's just one of the things I've been dealing with is, you know, okay, what do I go at from here if I don't, you know, because Puppet is effective. I mean, we all know that.
I mean, sometimes you just want to change it up.
Yeah, and I'm stuck in that, trying to figure out if I want to change it up.
Try to spice the game up for yourself sometimes. So
Nope.
Short of going with another type, which I really don't want to do because even going, that's just going to be a lot of money put in to go with another type. So unless you're sure of another type, I mean, for the most part, it's just what do I go staying at the type I'm at right now, which is Hyper 10 Max
see, there's just
Research.
so much versatility with infantry, man. I mean, you can run so many different ways. You can run the Craigs with or, you know, the dodgy Stellas. You can run the fucking high damage R's. You can run all kinds of stuff with infantry.
Yeah,
So, and the thing is if you try to get on a troop type, like you said, it's money invested. Like with Walker, you got to have high leadership. You got to have high level gear. You got to have high level talents. You know, High level research with airship. High level research, high level gear. You only get a couple of different choices in commanders, but at the same time, it's 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 not as versatile as infantry, you know. So I mean, you got the right route. So just choose which one
Yeah.
you want to go with. So you went to attack, you went to damage on route. You got your puppet. So next step would be to technically, I mean, like what Bang stated earlier, would be to build your tank. So you got your what's called, you got your attack, your damage dealer, and you got your tank. So I would personally, if you eventually, like maybe eventually run a 3-piece Craig possibly, because those things can be effective, you know, especially if you're going to be running a 3-piece. I mean, you just have to, have the right pieces or something like that. I mean, you can still get some use out of a trigger gear and everything, you know. So I mean,
No, I mean I've
but
got a lot of gear for the tank set. I mean, I do have Broken Fortress. I have the Regulus.
mhm.
I have all that at high levels that I kind of when we swapped when metas changed. I still kept those as far as high end
Yeah,
pieces. That way, you know. So I have the nanos. I have the Habaclus. I have all that. That's why I've been running the little small tank Stella, which works
yeah,
out. It's fun to run during cast.
mhm. Of course. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Craig's a good option for your arc eventually. Personally, I mean, I do. Just
So it's just the route. Do I go Craig or stick with Stella? Uh, that'd be the 1-2 punch right there
yeah, the
because you
thing
got
is,
Puppet that works, and then
they serve the same purpose, right? Kind of in a way, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, which one beats? Is going to be beating more. You know what I'm saying? You can't, and you got a 3-piece. I mean, you don't want to sit there and waste your 3-piece, right? So like a 3-piece Craig can work, but you can't run 3-piece on a Stella. You know what I'm saying? But you got all the tank gear for a Stella.
Yes, you
You
can.
do what?
Yes, you can run a 3-piece on a Stella.
I don't think it would be. I don't think it'd be effective, man.
It depends on what you're trying to beat.
yeah. It
Yes,
depends on what you're trying to beat, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know what's going to give you more
there's better options for
longevity
Stella.
as
You
far
know,
as I just don't know what's going to give you more longevity as in Cass and GC because I
yeah,
mean I run both of them. So Cass and GC is what you want to that com I want to be able to use during Cass and GC because Puppet's pretty much just GC. I mean I
yeah, of
can
course.
run it during Cass, but there's a lot of if ands or buts when you do run it during cast. It's just getting your marches down to where you can run it during cast where you run less and you get more points out of it.
Yeah, and it's just the thing
So
about versatility there. Then, if you want, it's the thing about versatility. Well, is a Craig the 3-piece Craig or Craig in general good in cast? Mm, probably not as effective as Stella at the lower number of troops you can run, right? So I'm thinking with Craig, you want to have a lot of leadership, right? So I mean, you don't want to sit there and send T12 full marches during cast all the time. So, but with Stella, I mean, maybe you can get some good kills with Craig with small marching, but some of the smaller shit. But I think Stella's a
yeah,
little bit more
say
versatile.
it's just
I
about
think
the
Stella's a
it's
little bit
it's
more
about the
versatile.
buy-in level. I
Yeah.
mean, because if I buy into Craig, I would have to buy in.
Yes, you would.
I'd have to go
Versus
all
Stella, you
in.
can still exactly. Versus Stella, I mean, you don't necessarily have to go all in, but you are technically already went all in with it. You just need to tweak your build at this point. You know, that's and if you're talking about path of arc path of best route for your arc next. Personally, I would stick with the Stella because you're already set up for it. All you got to do is just keep on tweaking the gear and building leadership. And she's
I mean, to
more
be honest,
versatile.
I can be already set up for Craig too because I do have the versatile gear that could go
Yeah,
between the two, and that's the thing.
and
Now, as far as leadership goes, do I want to buy in Craig now, which we already know the effectiveness of most comms is a
yeah,
couple years, and then you're
yeah,
gonna wind up getting something new or something out of it. So do I want to take effect of that, or Stella, who's been pretty much effective all the way through the game?
she has been.
You
She has
know,
been. And that's why I think she has more versatility and everything. She has that longevity to her. So I would
We don't
probably
talk
that's
about that.
the what.
We don't talk about that.
Why not, man?
Because the more people that have my commander, the less fun I have with my commander.
Look, how long has your commander been out there, and how many people's been running her, and still nobody has caught on? I've listened to so many people go, "Well, Stella's not a late game commander." Okay, keep smoking your crack too while you're at it.
Is
She is.
It's not even that she's not a late game commander. It's that she's not easy to run, even if she is a late game commander. Whereas most of the commanders you see out there, you send blindly at random opponents. Stella, you
Yep.
don't.
Yeah.
You have to pick your battles with Stella.
Very
So,
specifically, you have to pick your leadership. You have to pick your gear. You can change the gear. You can change the plugin. You can change the awakening. You can change the entire build. She is the single most versatile commander they've had in this game
Yeah.
ever. And
Yeah.
people, generally speaking, are not good enough at the game to effectively swap things around and use her that way.
yeah.
Besides the fact that it's expensive because you have to have twice as much gear for no good reason.
The funny thing is, I got twice as much gear for. Just
And
because
we
of
all know
the
you have
just because
no.
the just because the swaps between every time the meta changes, you find something working and you have to swap it out to something that works in the new meta.
Yep.
So, because we all know I was Hubarian for a long while, and then went to Puppet, and it wasn't completely gear swap difference, but I mean it's just enough that you have pieces that are just sitting there waiting for the next use of them.
Guys, I use all my pieces.
They're different things.
So, like if I move to Craig, let's say right now I got the Ruthless I can run on them.
Do not.
I've got the well, Ruthless is always fun, even on
It's
Puppet.
fun.
That shit's
Craig,
fun.
Craig is repeated. If you run Ruthless on Craig, the only excuse is if you're running anti one slot bust and you're going for blighting strike damage. That's
Well,
it.
you're going for blight and strike
Craig
damage.
has
Also, you miss out on the key point of running fucking Ruthless, which FBI found out. Is that what does Ruthless give me? I don't want to say out loud. I'm just going to let you say it in your head, but don't.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm well aware. Harris hates me.
Which I think FBI still hasn't figured out why. So, I mean, I've got all the major headsets. I've got the IDR headset I can put on them. I've got, then I could go 3-piece on them. Well, technically, I could go 3-piece once I get 2 pieces of gear. The
Yeah.
full 3-piece would be built up. And then you've got, or I could go with the Broken Fortress, Craig's weapon, and then run Habaklis and Ruthless, or not Ruthless, Regulus, or go with some extent as far as trying to tank. So it's between trying to tank Craig out or just throwing a 3-piece on him and letting him run through like that.
Anyway, we've been off on that rabbit trail for like an hour. And we all know you're going to say Stella.
It stayed within the confines of what this chat's meant for.
True.
And that's really
except
what
you
I
have
was
this
going for.
conversation 3 times a week.
Do what?
So
So, do I have any questions from anybody that's joined?
Anybody else?
It's like 3 or 4 of you guys in here. Come on, ask a
Questions,
question.
comments, concerns? Say something.
Fault to Genie, someone. Babu. Daz.
All I know is Orochi sucks. That's all I know.
See, I was just quiet. I was just fucking quiet.
Paul said,
Man, like,
explain, why do you feel like Orochi sucks? What's going on with
Basically, if you're facing any top 4 guild that's running the meta comms right now, Orochi sucks. Everywhere else, still pretty good.
Okay, fair assessment.
Because he can't beat Craig, can't beat Elf, can get whacked by Ira, so you're losing points. And the tank blacks, if they full march, kill him. And the new DS build with the energy weapon kills him. So pretty much fucked.
Yep, pretty much garbage.
And
That's not,
just simming my Oro gear on my black, he does better.
So what route you looking at going? That you're gonna be going from that Orochi.
I'm just gonna switch to a Neko build, I think, and just hang out with
There you
him.
go.
bringing out Neko. Okay.
Yo, Neko's good. Why does everybody hate on him?
Got
He is
better
good.
after than my Eastwood.
He's good. He just doesn't make any sense to use late game when there's Puppet. The only thing that he beats that Puppet doesn't beat is high dodge infantry. And it's not even that he beats them. It still depends on whether or not you land that 140% guaranteed hit.
Yep.
There's more options to do so, but depending on the talent you use, you're not going to be getting wings in the first round. So there's really no benefit to Neko aside from high dodge enemies that Puppet can't hit.
Yeah, but it's a Neko.
And you could run him cheap with Awakening. So he's not a bad con to have stuck in a back pocket.
Think about it. If you're like in the finals and there's a bunch of lag, people are gonna be like, "Is that a fucking Neko? Do we pull? Do we send? What do we do?"
Well,
How the hell is this thing
look,
built?
we found out that when you're in the finals and there's a bunch of lag, nobody's gonna see what's in there.
That's true.
Because you can't click on it to see.
I
randomly lose.
I don't think Neko will hit hard enough with just the 60% HP ignore because he doesn't ignore damage reduction. So you're relying on precise strike and a form a lot. I don't think it has the oomph that you would need.
Don't listen to him. Do it, Neko.
guys, like one question. Reinhardt and Oro are like not good in GB. So like, what other route should airship main take?
It depends on your gear, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
the biggest problem with that is the cost to have an effective main as an airship comm is so exorbitantly high at this stage. That's why a lot of the Oros are still Oros, is because they can't actually switch to a tank black. But like, if you are a Reinhardt main, chances are you're smallish or medium small. You're not one of the 10 players in your guild. So you're gonna have to focus on arcs and whatnot because you're not gonna beat the high end metacoms.
Mm-hmm.
The best way is like every single player in this game at this point should be focusing on a full pen set. I don't care if you main a Reinhardt or an Aura or whatnot. You should be focusing on full pen with a Formalot.
Okay, like you hit my sim like on the black. Can that be effective or no?
Oh, what?
You hit my sim like on the black. Till you're Stella right now.
Let me see. Yeah,
You hit it like
that's
15
a
times.
decent one slot. That's a decent one slot bust. Yeah, that'll hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to test it to know. You would know better than I. Can't tell you. You have the accuracy there. You've got decent defense. And you're using the Antares for dodge. You could probably get more dodge out of it because if you're going to run dodge, you want all dodge in the pants.
Mm-hmm.
You might get some in the helm. I don't know. But yeah, that'll work versus as a one slot bust. If you have full pen for sure.
So like
You just have to keep
I'm
in
looking
mind
to
you're not.
push this gear up. Then it's a good build. Not a good build, but it will be helpful.
Nope,
It's not a
not a
bad
good
build.
build. It sucks.
It's not a main full march build. It's I'm gonna land my one really good hit build.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend you get a Hectabolus for the defense and the trigger rate, specifically the trigger rate, because your everything is that one hit. You probably don't even want to run that many slots. You probably just want 1 and 2, like the
Mm-hmm.
second one for power bear ships to trigger, because you don't really have the ability to survive. I don't know. You'd have to test it. You need damage is the main thing. You want to land one solid hit. If you can do that with a black, you're gonna kill or at least punch holes in a lot of things, so you won't be useless.
So like Hector should another piece of gear like Broken Fortress or like Hector. Like should I get like Hector or like Broken Fortress first?
Oh, probably a Broken Fortress, just because it's more useful overall.
Mm-hmm.
You can run that build with the Broken Fortress before. You can't really run that build with Hectabolus and survive
Okay.
without the Broken Fortress. The Broken Fortress is what makes that build usable as a full march type deal. Hectabolus is just adding HP and trigger rate mainly is the biggest difference. It's a little more HP. Like Antares isn't a terrible chess piece. You're definitely going to have to switch it out for a Hectabolus when you can, but Broken Fortress is more important to the build
Oh, okay.
because you've
All I
already got
know is
have defense and you've got some HP from an Antares. It's not the best chess piece, but it can work short term.
I don't know, Babu. Your build sucks. I already hit it. You killed no troops, Babu, 5 times.
Oh shit. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, you gotta avoid dodge infantry because you're just gonna lose.
Run from me. Run.
Like the only reason I'm not slaughtering you is because I don't have enough accuracy in my build to hit you, which is a bit
So I
ridiculous.
should change like gems. The gems are like not accuracy at all. So okay.
Yeah, no. If you're running black, you want accuracy gems.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
make up with defense, defense awakening, defense in the chest.
Mhm.
You can still hit hard with best offense, even if you don't have high attack. But you can't make up for the fact that if you miss, you just miss.
Yeah, that's the only thing is you're only running one infantry set, and that's your canes, which you don't get any accuracy off of.
Canes does not help.
Oh,
Canes
I'm
helps
using
black
that setup
versus
like on DS right now. So like it's gem like yeah okay like I
Yeah.
needed an idea.
a lot of people run
Mm.
Canes on a bus, etc. But really, Canes does nothing versus the main metacoms. It helps versus infantry running wings. It helps versus best offense, and it helps versus weird utility marches like mine. Because like if I run dual blades, it'll block my Canes, and if you don't have Canes, I'm gonna wreck you. But you're not worried about me. You're worried about the elves, the blacks, the Orochis, anyone with absolute defense, status quo, preemptive, all of whom get zero negative effect from Canes.
I mean,
So
looking at it, your set is fine. You're only missing one piece from the set, the piece that from what you want to run with that black axe.
2. The
and
chest piece.
that's the chess piece.
Do it.
I mean, you get the chess piece, then you're fucking, you're fine. And then you got to change your gems up. So you're one piece from running that black that we've been talking, which is there's a couple in here that are one piece from running that black.
Yeah, like the tank black. You're talking about the tank black.
Yeah.
But like most of them have like a broken fortress. So like, should I focus on broken fortress or like hectabulous? That's what I'm
I
asking.
mean, you get
You
the
need both the pieces to run the
hectabulous.
tank black either way.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to have both of them either way. So
yeah.
I mean, you can have a decent black setup with pretty much like a higher accuracy black setup with focusing on hectabulous first, but
Yeah.
you still need the broken fortress at the end of
Yeah,
the day,
you'll still
regardless.
need the broken fortress, but I mean, as far as what I'm saying is, you go ahead and get that hectabulous, and then you just run an accuracy black build where you're knocking the shit out of anything that really has dodge or anything that has a real low amount of dodge. You should be fine until you get that broken fortress. So the hectabulous is going to make you beneficial before. I mean, if you get the broken fortress, you have to have that chess piece to go with it, whether
Yeah,
you got
you
the
have to
broken
regardless.
fortress or not.
Yeah,
But the hectabulous, you can run it with the hectabulous and the two outcades and still be fine.
yeah, and you'll have a
Mhm.
shit ton of accuracy. You don't have to. You don't even have to worry about the lower dodge. You don't have enough accuracy if you build it right and gem it right to be able to hit the high dodge infantry comms and everything like that. So it'd be more versatile to work on that first, and then maybe the broken fortress next. But either way, you're gonna for this particular setup you're wanting to run, you're gonna have both pieces regardless. But
Mhm.
you can get more use out of the hectabulous if you get that first, personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, answer the airship question right. Nice.
Right. Normally it's all infantry.
Ah, that's all right. I like running up against Nevis Italia too. So
Supposed to beat me, sir. That's your job. Masatalia did its job, okay? It did. I'm very impressed, actually.
and Jello can keep that freaking Ira to himself.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Makes me want to run Swee.
Any more questions?
What? You know what? I'm gonna run Swee. I'm gonna kick his ass a few times real quick, just cause.
So,
Any
any
other
more questions?
questions?
Anybody?
Yep.
I
That's
thought you.
all we
I
got
thought you.
right
I
there.
thought you forgot about that.
Sorry, I had to.
I thought you forgot about those.
Oh God.
That's about what we got right there. A bunch of crickets. Come on.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to. It was perfect
That
time.
was excessively loud.
My bad. It didn't sound that bad on
Do it
mine.
again.
I don't
Do it
know.
again.
Do it again.
Yeah. Do it again.
All right. I don't know how. I fucked up. I lost it.
Jesus. There we go.
Oh God. No, but for real, that's how I did what it needed to do, Liam, sir. And that's what it's about, like finding what you can and can't do. Like I know I'm not gonna come up against no puppet. Fuck that shit. That's not a good idea for me. But give me an elf, I'll eat it all day. You know? Orochi's food. Except salted, so it's different.
Probably not going to see any more Orochis.
Nah, not a lot. But that's the thing. Where does Tank Air go from there? Do they all develop into the Tank Black, or what other options are there out there, if any?
I hope they all make tank blacks.
Exactly. Like then you limit yourself fully if you do that, right? So like,
I mean, you limit yourself fully when you go airship to begin with. Yeah, you got the dominant set, but then your choices of who to go with have just diminished
Yeah, we need a
completely.
commander.
Yeah, like y'all don't have another solid comm that can be a tank air comm right now, right? I mean, yeah, there was some promise with Rogers a little bit, but not much with the right setup and it's a high fucking crazy expensive buy-in. So not really on that aspect. I mean, where else can you go? So you're stuck with Orochi unless you switch over to Take Black, right? So like,
I mean, maybe with that new airship comm, if they ever release his piece that's supposed to come, maybe, but I
I
haven't
don't
even seen them
see
try releasing.
even with this piece. I haven't seen it. You talking about Saber or whatever it is?
Yeah,
They
because I
already
mean they,
it doesn't help. His skill is
yeah,
too low.
yeah.
this trigger rate's garbage. Uh, we've seen one of those in the gym battle. The GN battle. We've seen one of those. It was food.
Things that you guys won.
Well, I mean, I've seen a Rogers trying to run in a gym battle, and
It
that
was
was
also
not
food
pretty.
for some. It was also food for some comms. I mean, it was no, don't get me wrong. I mean, they did killed things it should have killed, but also died to things it should have died to. So it was not like it was a game changer. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Reinhardt came out, it brought it.
He
It was a heavy
killed just as
topic to
well
put
by
on.
other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, just like I seen your Aquavitch ran in that one, and yeah, please
No,
keep running
that was crazy.
that. Please,
I'm sorry.
I enjoyed running to her.
The mermaid thing, Aquafina or whatever the fuck you want to call her, she was
Good
God.
lord.
I don't even know, dude. She's terrible, dude. Like I could not. When I'm Walker, I could not. I cannot find a use for her right now.
That's
Like
because they're
she's horrible.
She's an
the only
interesting
use.
combo.
The only use she has is to hit tiles because she has a high HP shield.
Yeah, that's it. That's nothing. She's just not useful.
Like, if you have 15 commanders in All Star, she's not going to be one of the worst, but she's definitely not useful as a main.
I agree. But that still brings back to the same question, even on the Walker side. Like, what's the next route for the next route for the tank style and everything like that? Like, or where y'all go? There's no tank air comm, or even with.
You have to become an infantryman.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean,
I guess,
still,
man.
even Walker's got more than what
There's got
airship has. I mean, yeah, you look at it.
But-
Okay, Walker's Elf's still holding her capacity. I mean, she's not as great
I
as
will
she
firmly
was,
disagree.
but she's still holding it.
I will firmly disagree.
She's not necessary. She's
No,
great.
she's not.
She, like the reason that we lost to who was it, FBI just recently, isn't even because their commanders were great. It's because they had so many of two. That was it.
Yeah,
And we didn't have enough to counter them straight up, just because
yeah,
they're so massive. Like,
Yeah,
if you
their roster ran deep.
made nothing but Fit and Stella, we still would have won. We would have won that GB hands down.
yeah. Well, I mean, looking at it, you had what
And we would have won
two.
everything.
You had two elves that were built like shit, but they had that one dude that actually had a pretty good elf. That was he did do a lot of work with that elf. So that's why I said elf still got the capacity. Gotta build her
She can
properly
serve a
with this new
purpose,
meta.
but there's comms out there now that can possibly serve a purpose a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Elf beats Craig, and
Yeah.
Elf beats anything smaller. She beats the lesser tanks like Orochi and Reinhardt and Craig. But she loses straight up to Black. She loses, well, depending on the puppet, she loses or at
yeah.
least gets a
Well,
massive.
depending on the triggers, yeah, the triggers that depending on her triggers is what
Assuming
it
how
comes down to.
the puppet's going to kill 2 slots, essentially.
Yeah,
She's gonna
Unless
get
you flip,
annihilated by 3 pieces,
then
right?
it depends on the triggers. But straight up, she gets beat. She just eats everything else.
Yeah.
And that's just because everything else is not optimized anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. You've got Elf still holding her place. Satalia's coming along pretty good. I
She
mean,
doesn't. He's not the best for it.
no.
It's just people haven't realized yet, and I'm not gonna, spill the beans on that one.
Yeah. So you still got a couple more on the Walker side than what you have. I mean,
Yeah,
airship. I only see
very limited.
2 to 3.
Yeah,
2 to
airship's
3
very limited right
comms.
now,
Yeah.
especially with the fact that tank air is pretty like it's pretty much phasing out when it comes to like Reinhardt's or Rochi's, and when it comes to GB. Like you're limited to what 3 commanders tops now.
Yeah.
Black, DS, and who? I don't even know. There's what? There's no.
DS, Black, and
That's it. If you phasing out Reinhardt and Rochi.
I'd say tier 2 Ryan's to just spam people and not lose too many points is probably
That's the only way. That's the only thing it can do at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just 2-point negative. So like it would have to run the T2 versions and stuff, which doesn't win battles. So therefore, in GB, it's not really effective anymore, just for arc hitting and stuff like that. Now in cast, I will say, in cast it's still effective and it will be. But where do you go from there as far as the GB standpoint? Like, cause then you literally only can build out a DS or a Black at this moment in time. They do need to release some airship com. I would hate to see it, but they need to release another good airship com. Honestly,
Tank.
I mean, I'm happy where fucking infantry is. I mean, she got so many
got a great
choices
option.
still. Yeah.
infantry's definitely
But
gained a lot recently.
we gained a lot. The problem is they all do similar things, and none of them as standalone universal as say a Black.
Yeah.
Which is irritating. Because like Craig, he can tank or he can one slot bust, but his one slot bust is very meh. And his tank loses to select other tanks and Blacks.
Yeah.
Whereas Puppet can't tank, even though his first skill should allow him to at least somewhat do so. He can't. And so if he doesn't have enough damage, he loses. And he loses to Craig. He loses to anything that shuts his trigger rate down.
Yeah.
Whereas Black just sits there and does it all with a few select counters.
He's just too good.
I mean, I do appreciate where infantry's at because I mean, you do have, you still got Stella out there. You still got, you got the Craig out there. You got Puppet. You've got Czar. You've got these different combinations of where you can go with it. Now, you're still winding up doing the same thing because none of them can really take a hit except for maybe Craig. Most of them, it's done. There's no tankiness to them to extent.
That's the thing. Infantry, regardless of the situation, I mean, infantry still squishy. Now, Craig does you can run some tankiness to it, or some Stella, you can run some tankiness to it, and then not be as squishy, but it's still squishy at the end of the day, right? That's why you got to rely more on when you're tanking with infantry. You got to rely more on the dodge side of it and everything like that. But it's still so many different options you can run with infantry, and airship is probably the most limited class like right now if you think about it, especially being effective in GB.
It's kind of crazy how much one plugin kind of affects that as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The absolute defense is like if you don't run it, then you're gonna suffer. So you have to run it on one com.
Yeah.
But I was actually kind of surprised at some of the Craig work. If you kept it, depending on the troops you had, and the amount of troops you had in your marches, you actually won until you really got hurt, and then all of a sudden you lost. But I mean, you'd have so many wins back to back because of it took them a while to deplete your front.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching that with Test. I was watching that with a couple other ones. I know Test did do a swap back to Czar, which, I mean, he got the same effectiveness out of Czar, to be honest with you, is when he got his marches got hurt so bad he had to get out.
Yeah. And that's the thing with infantry. That's the thing with all commanders and everything like that. You'll do so well until you come up to the wrong matchup, right? So like it's just the way it is. So excuse me. The infantry's definitely got the most options right now. So I agree with that statement. Walker's second because they do have a couple different options they can run, and then God, airship needs a new comm. I hate to say it. God, it's definitely the most dominant class, but God, they need a new one.
Disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because fuck them. That's why.
Fuck them.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Stop using
infantry
your
can't
Vega
be
then.
complaining. Infantry can't be complaining about "fuck you, S11P, you fucked us over," because at this point, infantry does seem like
Infantry's been gift wrapped the most versatile, most versatile. You know, oh my God, I'm sorry, some of my
Versatile?
words here. Most, yeah, shut up. Sorry, I cannot talk right now for some reason. My apologies. But no, infantry's got the most versatile comms. They got you have the most things you can have fun with as far as matchups concerned. You got some of the best talents in the game. I mean, it's pretty much gift wrap to you. I'm sorry
and
to
I
say it,
mean,
but it is.
I just don't see how you look at Ira and King as being Walker comms when 9 times out of 10 they're infantry comms now.
That's true.
Not Walker comms.
And
They're
King
not
are
Walker comms. Damn it.
entity. There's a difference. They are neither.
They're in their own class.
Because everybody's running with T11 now, infantry.
And that's the most effective way to run it, right? So
It's kind of
Tell
weird that.
Genie not to run Reaper.
I mean,
Anybody?
Bane, does Harris's black kill any of your commanders when he's running his full accuracy one though?
It depends. Like my setup, his full accuracy one will beat my regular setup. But if I set it up correctly, no, he can't beat me. I don't. My set's not specifically designed to be high dodge. If I use weird pieces, he can't beat me.
Yeah, I
But
gotcha.
it's the gear itself's not high enough level, and I don't have full with it, etc. So it's not ideal, and it
No, but
doesn't do
Harris loves the ruthless. You know, he loves when we run ruthless on our.
things.
But
But
in terms of like that black, like I mean, I still think black can kill more comms than like the majority of other commanders in the game.
oh yeah, no, black's still solid. Will forever
So
be solid. He just has that massive amount of damage so he doesn't have to run full damage to utilize, which allows run more tanky sets or
yeah.
weird
So I mean,
dodge
so like
set.
y'all. I mean, like you're saying, airship needs a new commander, but I mean, we've only ever had like, okay, Rogers was dominant, and then DS was dominant. There's really only ever been like one or two that were ever used, and black still crushes. So
I just feel like there should be another tank comms. Personally,
Well, the thing is, though, what what tank com? How are they going to build a tank com that beats black or puppet?
don't
Until
know.
that happens,
Don't know.
you're not going to
That's what they need to
Oh,
release
they'll
something.
bring out a new stat. They brought damage reduction.
if it can beat black, then infantry's automatically dead
True.
because if
the,
puppet can't, nothing's killing it.
the only thing that like might change is if the fourth talent somehow helps Orochi. But
Yeah,
I don't
true.
A
know.
new commander with an interesting plugin that would help some of the old tanks. That's probably what's going to do it.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see that right happening.
Because if we can keep like absolute defense on black and then have another defensive plugin that helps Orochi, for instance, then they'll probably come back.
True. We
But
just
we'll
have to wait and
see.
see. Exactly. We just have to wait and see.
I hate to say it. Has anyone tested Battle Maid since Leverage came out?
I don't know, actually.
Because that, like, her first skill was always amazing. If you threw absolute defense on her, and Leverage might ramp with her first skill more, I mean, her second skill more effectively. With the new AIs, you'd have a heal that she otherwise lacked.
Yeah.
I'm guessing versus another leverage build, though, it'll still not stack enough. But against other like Walker and Infantry, it might be effective.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I always wished she was better than she was, because she was kind of cool.
I changed my sim. I don't have the bot on.
Is anybody? I mean, I haven't seen them used, but is Zedilius used by anybody effectively at the moment?
I think Eberaki runs one.
Yeah, Ebaraki's got a killer fucking.
I have no idea what he runs on it, though.
The Dillis has a place, but
It's a
it
shame that
definitely
he
has a place.
loses a lot of that. Yeah, defense, doesn't it? Every time he uses the power surge.
Yeah. Well, he
If
does
they
have a place.
his helmet better, if they switched it from like the dumb percentage crit wither that it is to like say 4% damage reduction, Zedilius would instantly shoot right back up to the top of the meta. Like the problem with him is his helmet is trash. What's the stat for that stupid thing? It's like crit wither. Where's it even
Defense.
at?
That's
Is it
defense.
defense?
Yeah, 20% defense. That's a horrible stat.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
20% defense, 4% pen. It's just awful.
You know what? If it was HP, it'd be so much better too.
Oh,
No,
God, yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can't run a Walker tank without damage reduction in the helm.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you just
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Gotta have damage reduction, yeah.
without a skill like absolute defense, there is 0% chance you can run a tank build that doesn't have damage reduction in the helm. It just isn't a thing. Other than maybe like Stella, who runs a hybrid build, it's not even technically tank.
Yep. Agreed.
You just won't survive a hit.
Anyone talking much about the energy siphonizer weapon these days?
It's a good
Is
piece.
that the helmet one?
It's the lifesteal.
Oh.
It's
Very
a
nice
good
on
piece.
DS.
It sucks. It sucks that it's a very good piece, especially on DS. It sucks that they nerfed it. You can run it on a DS. You can run it on whatever variant. A couple of different options, and it'll work well. So it's there.
A good
I'd say,
counter to
yeah, I'd
raid
say
in a
it's a
sense.
it's a solid piece for DS. Like at the high end, you probably want it on your DS.
I agree.
Okay, so it's kind of specific then. It doesn't really transfer around much.
Well,
Like
no, I
it
mean,
doesn't accuracy. So to use it, you have to have some survivability. Otherwise, the lifesteal does no good. If you get hit and you die, then you're not healing anything back with 0 damage. You have to have some survivability, and with no accuracy, you still have to have a way to land your hits. So it only works on commanders that have a guaranteed hit, and therefore can run some sort of survivability and not rely on accuracy. Which is why it's used on DS, because they throw the hybrid build nonsense. So she's still semi-tanky, and then you get crushing blow to land it for you. You could do that on Sister Wolf with Mind Map, but
Walker's
I
got
don't.
their heal talent, don't they? So they did.
Mind Map actually that could work.
You already have the healing field, so I mean,
Right. Like I don't know that walkers would need it.
yeah. I mean, it'd be okay to help counter free piece even more, technically speaking.
Like
But
maybe on a hybrid Czar possibly.
yeah,
Problem
what
is
hybrids are.
the infantry com that can tank is Craig, and Craig can't use it effectively. It would have to be on a Czar, because that's the only way you would land enough damage and have a guaranteed hit without requiring accuracy and be able to survive. But then you would be running a not effective build overall.
I will have to. Okay, there you go. I was about to say, because there's select few instances where this actually they can be in a meta build for that, but we won't talk about that.
It wouldn't be worth the finagling with how infantry is doing it right now. There'd be no real point in trying to do that.
True. So it's not limited to like one com, but it's limited to what type of comms you can use it on. You don't have to have a guaranteed hit com.
Right. It's still 40% base attack, 4% base pen. So no matter what, it's got the damage behind it to be just like any other Alcade build. So it's not a bad piece just overall. It's you have to have a place where its effectiveness is maximized. That part's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer the counter to 3-piece, which is what it was when it came out. Is not a thing anymore.
Nope, they nerfed the shit out of it.
Well, that really applies back to the importance of very, very specific high-end gear. Then,
yeah, it has to be. It has to be set up in the right. It's got a versatile use, but it has to be set up in the right with the right com with the right gear. So it's very specific.
Like I wouldn't mind seeing it on a Czar, like a Czar with a Tanlang energy siphonizer, Roger's weapon, just saying, or an Alcade, and maybe a Void and Regulus, something like that, like a hybrid, maybe, or a Broken Fortress. You could use Broken Fortress with it.
No comment. No comment.
well, Broken Fortress is definitely my focus.
It works. It definitely works that way for sure.
Yeah, Broken Fortress is still really, really important, and I think that's anyone's game, is to either have it, level it, or get it.
Broken Fortress is probably the most widely usable piece in this game. Like you can run it on anything. Anyone's lost any wants or needs Broken Fortress most of the time. There's very few builds that don't. Like select one slot busts will do better without it and such. But like overall, even if you're not maximized, you still will do better versus a lot of random things because of Broken Fortress. The survivability is just so massive.
Yeah, and it's not bad to use. It's not bad to have as a alternate or a secondary set to use on your com, depending on situational and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely the top.
I'm surprised I've done as well as I have without having a Broken Fortress.
Broken Fortress is a good piece.
I mean, it's not necessary piece to have on most builds, but it does up your game most of the builds too, depending on what you're going up against. Now, as far as high game meta goes, I don't know how useful it is, being that most people do have the former Hulks.
I love the Broken Fortress.
It's still massive. Like,
yeah,
Formula ignores 10% damage reduction. So you're still getting 90% damage reduction with a Broken Fortress. That's huge.
yeah.
Like
I
all
love
those
it.
builds that are getting hit by black would not survive anything at all without a broken fortress. That 10%, that 90% damage reduction is still huge.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It works high end. Trust me. I still enjoy the use of no broken fortress for sure.
Good lord, people, stop bringing up the Soul Reapers. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I'm just playing around.
Reapers.
Like, my objective in life is to never see Soul Reaper again.
Well, he does.
That's
I
your
mean, I'm
objective.
enjoying it.
I
I
would like
don't
him to
mind
be more
seeing.
effective.
She won't. He won't. Like,
You can keep running Soul
No, no,
Reaver
no.
against me.
and that is specifically a one slot bust counter in a rally where you have first hit because someone else sets you up to get it. That's basically it. If you had a 3-piece and the scythe, that would be a great way to just knock everybody out. That's
I'd
not
just be
running.
like, please have more people run it because I'm having fun.
It's just so easy to counter. It's useless versus any tank. It just doesn't hit hard at all. It's like bad version of Pictor, if that's even a thing.
Oh, I got a
Is
question.
there any good version of Pictor? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Dreadshot used to run a Pictor, didn't he? Wasn't Dreadshot? He had one.
Yeah,
I don't
he
know.
did a T11 one.
Yeah, so did Range. I also kicked up their asses.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd
I
love
mean,
that fucking Pictor when the range sent it at me. That was so many fucking T11 points and cast. Oh my god, it was nice. I loved it. It didn't do anything. I ate every bit of it. So yeah, no, yeah, keep on running Pictor, please. Yeah, please, come on.
So, Neva, you brought this up earlier when you said you wanted new airship commanders. What
Yeah.
would you rather have? Would you rather have new commanders come out in the game, or would you rather have old commanders be reformatted?
Honestly,
Now remember, with new commanders, you get new looks, you get, stuff like that. With old commanders, it's the same look, it's just different skills.
yeah.
You have to pay for the new ones, so obviously the old ones would be better.
The old ones, the thing is, if they did an old one buff, they would have to buff all of them across the board. And if they did that, then there's some nasty shit that can be built, yes, but then there's gonna be a lot of fucking pissed off people because there's gonna be a lot of losses, for no reason.
I mean, the only way you're going to reformat the old commanders would be adding weapons to them or a headpiece or, And do I see benefits with that? Yeah, I kind of see some benefits depending on how they add them. But there again, I think they're missing more than just 1, 2, maybe 3 stats. They're missing more than that. So it would almost retool and build rather set up a new commander
Like when you
where
say
you can make that effective.
old, like the primary problem with a good third of the old commanders is trigger rate of the first and or second skill. For
Yes.
example, Vuberian would be way better if his skills were 40-60 instead of 30-40.
Yeah.
Maid would be better with a higher percent for her skill, not the trigger rate because it's 100%. What's that? Like Stella's first skill is still 20%. All the 40% guaranteed hits are fallen by the wayside nowadays. Because especially with Craig, like he takes away 36% trigger rate, so you're back down to 4. There's a lot of commanders that trigger rate is the biggest thing. If they upgraded that and maybe a couple of skills, like Gollum, if his first skill wasn't a 20% skill, he would still hit hard.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay,
If you
but
upgraded that to a 40% skill, he might be useful.
yeah, but
Stuff
okay.
like that.
So would
So it
you?
would just be a buff across the board. You know, you'd have to do that. But I kind of like the idea of new commander releases. To be honest with you, but they got to be useful. Like, come on, look at the last commander, a lot of these commander releases we've gotten so far. Like, they're like even Iron Axe, trash, absolute garbage. The Walker com, garbage. Airship com, EO or whatever the fucking name is, garbage. They haven't Saber, garbage. They haven't released a good com. So whoever, I mean, they need to either buff the old ones or they need to release good comms from now on. You know what I'm saying? Like actually comms that can be useful in the meta. Right
Dude,
now,
I
this is limited.
Star Crusher would get a buff.
Do
So
what?
bad. Star Crusher. I will never be off that horse. I want Star Crusher to get a super big buff.
Well, I don't think anybody tried them after they buffed them, huh? Because then they didn't they do a buff on them and after they released them?
No. Well, they fixed the way his skill was working so that it actually stacked, but it still doesn't work as well because of Canes.
Alright.
It has to have wings, otherwise it doesn't work.
Thank you.
And even with wings, it still doesn't ramp enough versus tanks. Like you would have to have maybe if you ran all trigger rate gear, like if you had the Sun Raven chest pants and trigger weapon with a ruthless helm and an alcade, or I guess dim light would be sweet. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
A 3-piece build like that, or maybe even with his helm. If you had at least 2 pieces of trigger rate and all 50, you might be able to get enough triggers to make his skill effective. It's also a debuff, so it gets blocked by Power of Walkers, which is also bullshit.
Yeah.
There's just too many things that shut it right down. It's like the less effective version of War Machine, even though it has a guaranteed hit.
I mean, his headpiece doesn't really offer a good secondary stat either way. It's 4% pin and it's 50% crit. So I mean,
it's the highest crit helm in the game. It's not a bad stat at all.
It's terrible. What's the use of going to get that with all this crit weather out there? Come on, let's be real here. Like,
exactly.
What's it going to do for you?
Crit. It's better than a formula for that. It's the same as a formula, and it increases the skills max stack to 5, which is significant, except you can't trigger his skill enough to get it to work effectively. If you could, then it would be great.
I wish Star Crusher would have been better than what he was for sure. But also,
they need to make 60%. The first infantry comment is 60% guaranteed hit. Yeah.
So I don't know. It just depends on. I mean, it's a good question. I do like buffing old commanders. That would be a fun idea, but just release good commanders. You know, people will still spend on them. So just if you want to make your money and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Like people still going to spend on new comms. Just release good ones. Don't make us feel like we're wasting our money. You know what I'm saying? Give us some bang for our buck here. That's where I'm at with it.
Oh, come on! You don't like the new commander they have with that?
No. Hell no.
You know that actually gives me an idea.
What's that?
Come on, be honest. We are all wasting our money.
What if, right? We start it like on 780. We get the whole of Discord, the whole of the planet. Come up with your version of an airship, an infantry, and a walker. You only need to do one. Come up with skills, right? And then on one of these gear talks, we can bring them on. We can figure out which ones are OP and they can't go, which ones need to be built up. And then the week after that, I can kind of bring it to the whole community so they can give their thoughts. And then we come up with, as the whole community, we come up with one airship, one infantry, and 1 Walker Commander that we think would be a good addition, and I submit it to 7 Pirates.
That's a good idea.
So that way the whole community gets to.
They just ignored us.
Yeah.
They would probably just ignore it.
Yeah, they just
Okay,
ignore
but
you.
I would hope not. I
Here's
would
the
hope
thing.
Go back to your corner.
They,
like that, actually.
We know the 7 Pirates has an agenda for themselves, but at the same turn, they have a customer base to.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they will listen a little bit, especially if the whole community gets behind it.
it's asked people for suggestions, and they were completely ignored. Like the shit that they came out with after that, I don't even remember which one it was. It was just garbage. Like they asked.
They have fixed other things as well. So
Regina came out. Regina and the other 2, Mysterious Warrior and whatnot. That they had asked everyone what we wanted, and they totally ignored everything.
Well, I'm thinking that might have been because everybody was giving all these ideas, and some of them were probably completely overpowered, and they're not. This way, like we can start it here, and then we can get the whole community involved, and we can build, commanders, or at least give them an idea of something that's gonna work, but isn't gonna be completely overpowered, and obviously isn't gonna make it in the game. And that way we can also find out if they're going to listen to us. If they're not going to listen to us, then what's the point?
Dude.
They're not.
I mean, it's
We can tell you now.
Why not try?
Right, exactly. And I think that's a very good option to bring the whole community and see what happens.
Hey, Grinch, I don't want this to happen to you. Don't go the way of Melt.
Do not.
Oh yeah.
But what do you mean? Go the way of Melt?
Seven Pirates don't give a fuck. They don't.
Well,
You'll go the way of all the other streamers, Melt and Badger and all of them, where they don't listen to me, so I'm gonna do this. Don't.
Watch out. Hey.
Well, I mean,
because initially that's exactly the way they went. Is that was 7P ain't gonna listen to me? Then why am I doing this?
Yeah,
Well,
we still want you to be around just in case they don't listen. You know what I'm saying? We don't. What they're saying is don't hold your expectations to this working because, yeah.
So my thought process is if they do listen, maybe we can make some good changes. If they don't listen, I don't do this for them. I do this for the community. I just, won't give them ideas no more. I'll still do this for you guys.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what?
You're just gonna get shot. You're gonna be pissed off. The community's gonna be pissed off because they're gonna be like, "You got our hopes up. Nothing happened."
I don't give a shit. Fuck them.
Did I just to Wolf and Peak? What the fuck?
What are they gonna do? Not watch my videos? I don't give a shit. I'm the Grinch. I don't care.
Hey, then you don't get free shit when they don't watch.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. I may be somewhat
Remember,
nice,
this stream is brought to you by Grinch Gaming.
Exactly. If you don't like it, click off.
They're gonna be like, he don't care about the free stuff, so we don't have to worry about giving him anything.
Hey, fuck it. I'm doing all right.
No more shiny chat.
I don't have no. I haven't even submitted any videos this month. I don't even know if I'm going to. Fuck them.
Oh wow.
I do this for y'all. I
Well-
don't do this for them.
Yeah.
Now B's over. I'm gonna be bored.
That's all right. You got Castan coming up shortly, so
Can you spell bored between things?
That's like a month away though.
How far out is Cass?
It's like a month away.
yeah, we're about a month away. Should be, I think someone said December 3rd, 10th, somewhere in there. So it should be beginning of December.
Is it bad that I'm contemplating buying one of these packs just because there's a nanobot in it that I don't need?
Yes, don't do it. Don't do it.
I don't know. I've been debating on whether to buy packs.
No unnecessary spending.
The problem is, like,
when did I marry you? That's all I'm gonna say. When did I marry you? No unnecessary spending.
I can spend.
You could donate to me.
Yeah, but
Just because your wife tells you that doesn't mean we have to follow
Yeah,
that.
come on, man. Y'all
That's
know Black Friday's
$100
right around the
cash.
fucking
So you're
corner.
getting what?
Zero.
145 bot, 140, and some 35s. Let's be honest. For
alright,
what?
but
$40, you can get a 45 and 440s from elsewhere, quote unquote.
Right. But
from somewhere.
like
Yeah.
at the stage where I'm at, the only thing I can do is buy 50 gear, and there's no point. Like I just can't bring myself to drop 320 at one time. It's ridiculous.
What about like 3
It's weird.
payments?
I don't see any packs with that option. That's weird. Because we only buy things from company.
Yeah,
It's a secret pack,
That's how
dude. They like
7P loses so much money because they're fucking stupid.
Imagine how much money they'd make if they sold gear, like made a market and sold shit like that.
Imagine how much money they'd make if like they lowered the prices to like match other people's prices and they weren't fucking greedy and dumb. No, but like think about it. Like what if they made some of these weapons like $200? Like they'd make so much more money. More people would buy them. But no, it's got to be $2,000.
then more
No,
people
thank you.
and they'd have
Well,
to
I
raise.
mean, yeah, I
Like
mean,
I'd have a shit ton of
if they
used
would have
gear.
kept their prices low, they would have more people in the game playing it to where you collect more off of you collect smaller dollars off the more people than
Yeah.
less higher dollars off of less people.
What- for them to make the money they make off one player in this one whale in this game, they would have to sell like 1,000 packs to like one pack to 1,000 players.
Yeah, but what
as
happens when that
opposed to
person leaves?
one whale. One whale.
Okay, what happens when that person leaves?
They don't like. Who do you know who's spending $1 million and then just randomly leaves?
If you can spend $1 million, it doesn't mean anything to you. You're just doing it because you're having
No,
fun.
no.
Yes.
No. If you're spending $1 million on you're invested in that game and you're probably going to be playing it considerably long time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how much longer are you going to spend that kind of money? Like you've reached a point where you have everything. What are you spending for?
And then they make a new game, and they make $1 million off that guy in a different game.
Yeah.
That's why Seven Pirates has more than one game. They're all basically the same thing.
Each game has one guy.
The one guy supports the community with this thing, and that's how they view it. That's how it works.
Granted, none of their other games are as successful as this one, but still.
They're making their money off the whales. It's a targeted strategy, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they are doing it on purpose. And it's proven that it works, and statistically, they are making way more money doing it.
Yeah.
If you lower the pay gap, there won't be whales because there's no point in spending $1 million if it doesn't get you anything. If everyone has a plus 50 gear set, what benefit does the whale have in spending that money? He's just hits the ceiling.
Get good.
But then you might attract more people in the long run and everything like that. But then you have more work into the game you have to put into, right? You have to do a lot more to keep that game attractive at that point for the same people spend on a consistent basis versus keeping this well attractive to spending the amount of money he's spending in the game. You get what I'm saying? So it's a good strategy they have, but
if you
in
have
the long term for success of it, it's not going to work with lowering.
If you have that one guy spending that money, right? Now imagine that there's 100 people like total left in the game. How long is that whale going to play this game if he has no one to play with?
Yeah, but that's just it. There's never going to be that many, and when there is, they'll just shut it down and start a new game.
Yeah,
like they designed the games well enough to keep some player base. Obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
There's no
it's
way
going to attract new player base and everything. Of course, you lower your prices, but the thing is, like Bane said earlier, and there's only a certain amount. There, I mean, and I'm saying there's only a certain amount of people you're going to attract to a game like this. You know, there's only a certain. It's an elite community at that point. So most of the people that play this game expect they're going to have to spend some money. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they play this. I mean, yeah, it's a fun game to play as a free to play. If you are in a smaller, there's a whole bunch of other places to play. Don't get me wrong. Like that's back in the day stuff and everything like that. It was still fun and everything like that when there was not as many huge spenders like there is nowadays. But at the same time, then you get all these. You can only attract so much. You know, you're not going to have this community of 10 million players all spending $1,000 a month versus you got this one guy, this elite group of 1,000 guys spending tens of $1,000s, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So the game would require a lot more attention to detail at that point to keep people attracted to the game and to keep attracting more content.
If this isn't Fortnite.
I don't even play Fortnite.
Thank God.
All right.
Horrible.
We've been going an hour and 45 minutes, so.
Oh, that's a good session. Okay.
Yeah, that's. Do we have any last minute questions before we shut this down? Nothing?
No.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys showing up. You guys have any outros you want to do? We can go ahead and do that and then shut it down.
All right. Just want to thank everybody for joining and everything. As always, thank you, Grinch, for covering at the time and everything like that. If you will, make sure if you joined us today, make sure you go watch it. Like and subscribe to Grinch's channel. He does a lot of good things there. He's got a lot of informative stuff. I know he just released a couple weeks ago about all the AIs and everything. He's got a lot more stuff than just You're Talking Pimp My Art. So make sure you check out his channel and subscribe to him and everything like that. And thank you, Grant, for the community. And thank you, Bane and Liam, for hosting this with us today, for sure. I like this session. It was a good session. Good, a lot of questions.
Bye.
Love it.
All right, we're out.